This was about us trying to help this community, about us trying to bring everybody together.
I say that I'm too either stupid or stubborn to quit. So I would have kept going, but I would not have progressed at the rate that I am without the support of folks like you guys.
Go get help, because people love helping. People love mentoring. People love helping the communities grow.
But think about the compounding effect of not just money, but the compounding effect of effort. The compounding of what we're doing in this community to build and support each other to build things.
You know, we have such a vibrant sort of community here, but it's still very young. I mean, a lot of first-time founders,
Yep.
A lot of folks really kind of taking their first up at bat, trying to be a startup founder.
Yep.
We're all learning and kind of pivoting together.
They're so approachable. They're willing to take the meeting, they're willing to take the coffee, they're willing to just be helpful.
It was a labor of love for this community that has reaped huge benefits. And that is why I think I am so excited and enthused about what is happening here. And every year I get more and more excited because I think it's getting bigger and bigger.
Welcome to Trailhead Boise. We're located in the heart of downtown Boise. My name is Jacob. I'm our Director of Operations. Let me show you our co-working space. Our co-working memberships are designed to be affordable and accessible to any price point, and we offer two main types of memberships. What you're seeing behind me is our hot desk membership. This is your standard co-working setup. All of our desks are seat stand adjustable. They come with a monitor and an HDMI hookup. You come in, you find an open desk, and you get to work. If you're looking for a little bit more of a dedicated experience in a co-working space, we offer a dedicated desk membership. This provides you 24/7 access to Trailhead, a desk that's reserved for your exclusive use, and the ability to leave equipment, decorate the desk how you please, make it your own. Both of these membership levels come with access to reserve our meeting rooms. We've got a private meeting room, which is great for confidential calls, 2 group meeting rooms, which are conference style, great for collaboration, and then we've got 2 phone booths, which are great for quick calls on the go. Co-working is really just the beginning. We have a full suite of programs like Boise Pitch Night, You Lead Idaho, Boise Entrepreneur Week, Ideas at Go, and many more, which you can find on our website, tailored to help you at any step of your entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're at the very first stages, trying to take an idea from a napkin and turn it into a business, or you're pitching for your first investments, all the way to raising your Series A rounds. We have a full suite of tailored programs to help you learn the skills you need to be successful and connect you to the people in our resources who can help take your business to the next level. So whether you're an entrepreneur looking to start or grow your business, or a remote worker looking to switch up the home office and find community, we're probably a great fit for you. Check us out next time you're in downtown Boise. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Boise Entrepreneur Week 2025. My name is Jacob Grinwis, and I'm the co-chair of Boise Entrepreneur Week and the director of operations over at Trailhead. I'm joined this morning by Thea Jordan. Thea, thanks for hopping on View Live with us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've been the executive producer this year for View, and it's been a great experience. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for wrangling in View Live for us. Which again, if you're tuning in live, you're participating in BEW Live right now. So how about we kick things off? Thea, share with the audience a little bit about what BEW Live is. What do they have in store today?
Perfect. Yeah, BEW Live really encompasses a lot of what's covered already at Boise Entrepreneur Week. And we've got many topics today over the next 2 days as well. And today we'll be touching on AI and human creativity, cybersecurity, SBA funding, manufacturing. We have resource partners from the Idaho Manufacturing Alliance, different small businesses. We get to meet with Radler Medical, Donald Young.
Last year's champion.
Yes, and hear kind of his year in review. So I think that's going to be a spectacular overview this year. But we really wanted to cover kind of conversations in the wing, so to speak. And so some of what wasn't covered, maybe on stage, maybe the conversations that are happening outside of the tracks. So that was the kind of ethos behind it.
I love it, a behind the scenes look.
Yes.
Up close and personal with the founders and the thought leaders. And I loved what you said about how it's capturing a lot of the conversations happening at Boise Entrepreneur Week this year. This is our 8th year at Boise Entrepreneur Week, if you can believe it. We've got a really exciting lineup of sessions at the physical event here in downtown Boise at Jump. The day today has the small business track, the military track, start track, and the creative track. I see themes woven into today's BEW Live programming from each of those tracks. I'm super excited for the military pitch competition. My favorite part about Boise Entrepreneur Week has always been the pitch competitions. It's where all the action takes place. You get to see and hear from the founders firsthand. Should be a good time. I think that kicks off at 1 p.m. today.
Yeah.
Check out our schedule on the website to double check me on that. Yeah, anything else that you're looking forward to today? Any conversations on BEW Live that people got to tune into?
I think human creativity versus AI is what I'm really interested in. I know that AI is very integrated into a small business at this time, and it's absolutely necessary to stay competitive, but we're seeing, we need the human creativity element. There are some things that AI just cannot do, and so I think that's going to be pretty interesting. And then we do touch on tariffs, manufacturing, and small business, and I think that's a conversation that everyone's having right now.
Especially small businesses.
Especially small businesses.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that panel. And the conversation on AI versus human creativity will be interesting too. That's being shared by Jenny Myers and Deanna Schur with Against. Yeah, that's going to be a great conversation. They're leading our create track this afternoon, creative track this afternoon. Zooming out, looking at Boise Entrepreneur Week, I just wanted to take a second and sort of talk about the history of the program, the impact that we've had over the last 8 years together, and really what's in store for the whole week. So today is Small Business Day and Creative Track Day. Really, this is a good community for any small business owner, anybody who's working in the creative economy. The start track is going to be awesome. There are 3 sessions that cover AI and how small businesses can utilize those tools while not losing their uniqueness or authenticity. We're going to be learning about the Junction, which is a new platform being brought to the community by Boise State. So that'll be interesting. The start track is where you'll see that. Like I mentioned, we've got the military pitch competition and a handful of other fun things happening at Jump. Tomorrow, Wednesday, October 1st, is going to be the Tech Day. So all of the tech people in the community, that's the day you're going to want to get into the building. We have the tech track, the health innovation track, which focuses on a lot of conversations around health tech and advancements and innovation in the healthcare world. That's a big conversation right now in Idaho. We have a new track launching tomorrow called the Frontier Track, which I'm really looking forward to. This is our first year piloting the Frontier Track, and the idea was every year there's cutting edge technology being released. The last few years it's been AI, right? And I'm sure this ecosystem is small. We've seen every panel there possibly could be on AI and how wonderful it is. The Frontier Track provides a platform for a contrarian opinion. Not just the entrepreneurial and business applications of artificial intelligence technology, but the way that it affects us societally and as a community. The Frontier Track this year is going to be focusing on artificial intelligence, specifically a team from the Count company in town. The original AI team is getting back together. They're going to be having a conversation around where they were at the time when they were building, really early stage AI technology and what they forecasted. It's going to be a check-in. What did they get right? What did they see coming? And what totally blindsided them?
Right.
That's going to be an awesome panel discussion. It's called Count Exit to Exodus. It also has a really good conversation around the companies in town, the large ones, the Microns, the HPs. They spin out talent, and though that talent goes on to create startups. Mm-hmm. Count was an example of one of those startups. And after the exit with Equifax, they spun out multiple different, highly talented individuals that have started their own companies. So they're going to be sort of talking on that concept and how important it is to nurture the spun out talent from these, larger companies in town and to help them create startups. Would definitely recommend catching that. And then we have another conversation part of the Frontier track called Hype to Homework, AI Comes to the Classroom. This is going to be a really good conversation with local public school officials, private school officials as well, people from the universities in town talking about how education is embracing AI, how it's shifting things up, what assumptions are we making, and what's it going to take to effectively, safely, and hastily adopt this technology into the classroom.
Yeah.
So highly recommend the Frontier track. That's a new one we're working on this year. Wednesday, we also have the food track, which is for any startup that is working in the food and beverage industry. Mm-hmm. Of course, the marquee event of the food track is the trail mix pitch competition.
Yes, I'm very excited for that.
Oh, it's the best. Show up a little bit early, right beforehand, around 4 p.m. to check out the food expo. That's where you'll be able to sample and try out the products from this year's finalists. We've got a couple of special things in store for that expo. It's going to be big, it's going to be awesome, so check that out for sure. And then the trail mix pitch competition will take place directly after from 5:30 to 7:30. That's Wednesday. Wednesday is technology and food.
Yep.
Thursday is capital, money, investment, all that good stuff. We've got the Grow track and the Merger and Acquisition track, another new one coming to BEW this year, launching in the morning of Thursday, October 2nd. We have the Capital track, which is one of BEW's most popular tracks. And what makes it extra special this year is we're actually hosting our friends with the RMVCA, the Rocky Mountain Venture Capital Association. This is a consortium of about 40 different VC firms in the Mountain West region. They coordinated to host their annual board retreat here in Boise during Boise Entrepreneur Week. So they're going to be all throughout the Capital track. They're going to be sitting on panels, sharing their insights, which I'm really excited for. Bringing that outside perspective into the Boise community, getting 45 VCs to come here and check out what's happening in our innovation economy is a really big deal. So I think the Capital track is definitely going to be a must attend this year. And then of course, we've got the pitch competition directly after. Same time, 5:30 to 7 on Thursday. Every year we have, a front runner or one or two clear front runners in the pitch competition. Did you catch the semifinals?
I did not, but I've heard about them. There's some good competition.
Oh, it's going to be
year.
competitive.
Yeah.
I know. I'm really excited to see how the main pitch competition shakes out. $50,000 in cash is on the line, and I think there's 4 or 5 individuals who are all going to be gunning for that $50K. So I'm really excited to see how the finals shape up. You can tune in to those here on BEW Live, 5:30 to 7. Or if you're in town, come to Jump. Get out here. Tickets are free. Register at BoiseEntrepreneurWeek.org. Grab a free ticket. Grab your ID badge. Come join us. Come take a part in this conversation and see what's happening in Idaho's entrepreneurial ecosystem.
It's good stuff. I know.
Yeah.
It's going to be jam-packed.
Jam-packed.
Jam-packed. So excited.
Yeah. Well, anything you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
No, just tune in throughout the day. If you can't stay all day, just click back in when you can. And if, as Jacob mentioned, if you can join us at Jump, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of BEW Live, too.
Yes.
If you can't get out to Jump, you can tune in from anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
Right here.
And as you've been saying since Monday, happy BEW.
Happy BEW. Woohoo.
Yay,
All right.
Well, good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, up next we have our first fireside chat with Tobin Dixon from the SBA Boise District Office and Michelle from Idaho Manufacturing Alliance. They're going to be talking the new onshoring Made in America initiative, as well as manufacturing in Idaho and workforce needs and things of that nature. And so it'll be a really great one, and we'll be back with you here shortly.
Happy BU.
Good morning and welcome back to Boise Entrepreneur Week. My name is Tobin Dixon and I'm the Deputy District Director for the Small Business Administration here in the Boise District Office. And I'm with Michelle Marshall with the Idaho Manufacturers Alliance. And we'll just get started talking a little bit about onshoring and, excuse me, and some of the resources available to manufacturers. So Michelle, maybe why don't you start and tell us a little bit about IMA and the programs you offer, and then a little bit about the workforce side of onshoring.
Absolutely, honored to participate. Thank you for having us. And Idaho Manufacturing Alliance is a 12-year-old organization that was founded by a manufacturer for manufacturers to wrestle with all the issues that come up in owning a small, medium, or even a large business. I'd like to give kudos to Sherry Johnson and her husband Jeff Johnson, former owners of Johnson Thermal Systems. She was the founder, and really what it came out of is, who do I talk to about the challenges that are facing me running a small business? Started in their garage, and most of us know what Johnson Thermal Systems is all about today. And as we look at being the voice, Idaho Manufacturing Alliance, which I'll refer to as IMA, we are the voice of manufacturing. While we do have a membership community that you're welcome to talk to me at some point about, anybody out there in the audience, whenever you like, we're here to help anybody in Idaho start up, get bigger, address issues. The primary challenges that we see and hear that are facing manufacturers as they look at reshoring or starting up are workforce, supply chain and logistics, economic uncertainty. And that, Tobin, is what you're going to talk to us about a little bit more in a moment. I've been with the organization for 5 years, first as a corporate sponsor, then a volunteer, and now in my new chapter of professional engagement, I'm a team member. But Tobin, what are some of the resources that a manufacturer can look at as it relates to capital investment?
Yeah, okay. And before launching into that, let me just give you a little bit of background too for the Small Business Administration, what we do. We like to summarize what we do with 3 C's and a D. I'm going to start backwards. The D is for disaster. We actually have a disaster arm of SBA that maybe you've heard about with the EIDL loans, the PPP that came out of COVID. And that is the only part of our agency that provides direct loans. So the 3 C's include capital, and that's what we're probably most known for is our capital programs. And those are our primary capital programs are all actually loan guarantees. We don't actually make loans directly to the public or to small businesses, but we empower your traditional lenders, banks and credit unions and nonprofit lenders to be able to make loans they otherwise couldn't, or and at better rates and terms than they otherwise would. So that's kind of a little bit about the 1 C, the capital. Another C is we do a lot of contracting work. So the certifications for small business, for women-owned business, veteran-owned business to do work with the federal government. So the federal government is the largest buyer of goods in the world. And 23% of all federal purchases are supposed to go to small businesses. So one of those C's then that SBA does is the contracting work to certify businesses to be able to help with doing work or bidding on federal contracts. And then the 3rd C is our counseling arm, and that's where we have mostly do a lot of our technical assistance and counseling for small businesses through our resource partners like SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the SCORE mentorship program, Women's Business Center, and we have other partners as well. But that's the 3rd C. So 3 C's and a D. So circling back to your question, Michelle, on the capital side, manufacturing right now is obviously a very big topic at the federal level, and there's been a lot of new rollout of programs through SBA and kind of the manufacturing initiative. And a couple of those, I'll just start right off the top. One is just recently announced that any loan, SBA-backed loan done to manufacturers that's $750,000 or less, we are waiving the guarantee fee for those loans. We have a new MARC loan. It's the manufacturer's access to revolving credit. It's a new revolving line of credit up to $5 million for manufacturers. just is being rolled out, so we're trying to train our lenders right now on how that program can work for them, but it's another avenue. We have a working capital pilot program as well that's about a year old, that is kind of borrowed from our export working capital program, but it's made for domestic and exporting, but it's a perfect tool for manufacturers to do asset-based lending or transaction-based lending to help manufacturers with a revolving line of credit. I feel like there's one other thing that I'm forgetting on that line, but the other things that we're doing right now at SBA is we have a hotline for any small business really to call in and tell our Office of Advocacy where are the pain points for manufacturers or small businesses in general with the bureaucracy in the federal government, with the idea that our Office of Advocacy is hoping that they can reduce bureaucracy pain points such that to save small businesses up to $100 billion a year. We have another neat tool that's on our online of sba.gov. You can find our manufacturing portal. And it's really it's a portal, it's a tool that small business and manufacturers in particular that can go to and look for US-based resources to help with their supply chains, to help source out their supplies with US-based made products, to help, again, with the whole manufacturing supply chain. So that's the shotgun approach of a lot of things that we're doing at SBA to help manufacturers. But there's a lot of, it's difficult to onshore manufacturing. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about, from the IMA perspective, what some of those things are.
Thank you for sharing all of those resources. And it is complex. There are so many participating members in the ecosystem working to empower and enable manufacturers just to get started or to grow. I'd like to highlight one, Vessel. Our IMA Executive Director, Gina Robeson, is working very closely with Derek and Molly from Vessel to help launch a platform that would bring most of the ecosystem closer together. It's like, where do we go for what resource? Because it's vast and it's very challenging to navigate. What I'm going to talk about right now is a big piece of one of those solutions, which is workforce solutions. 10 years ago, the United States Chamber of Commerce launched a program called Talent Pipeline Management, or TPM. There were 5 initial participating states, and what it was about was applying supply chain approach to streamlining hiring, upskilling, and pipelining talents, because you can have all the great ideas, you can find the money and the capital assets, but who is going to do the work? And today there are 43 states participating in TPM, and Idaho's Workforce Development Council has identified IMA to participate and provide solutions to manufacturers to have this discussion. Whether you're looking for 2 people or 200, we help bring together this framework of an employer collaborative to talk about, well, if we're all hiring in this particular area, whether that's rural or not, how do we do it together? What are we looking for? How do we align with job descriptions? What do we do for the interviewing process, and et cetera? So really, our program at IMA under TPM is called Empowering Idaho's Manufacturers Through Workforce Solutions, or EDGE. So as Tobin and I talk about all of these different acronyms, all of these different resources, all of these different dots to connect, it really starts with the conversation. Reach out to us, helping you, point you in the right direction. And it is our goal at IMA to look at how we present a visual of all of the resources available for manufacturers in the ecosystem, no matter your size, including what's offered by the SBA.
Yeah, and I think that's a fantastic point, that the best thing in my, I'm a native Idahoan, and the best thing about Idaho is I feel like we're very collaborative. And so whether it's a federal agency, the employees of a federal agency here in Idaho, we really work a lot and alongside our partners like IMA. And there's a lot of resources out there that people really don't know about. And so I think there's an advantage for you in Idaho in particular, just because of the collaboration. A lot of us, we know about the different resources, and we work together a lot. And so please reach out to us and or IMA if you have any questions on these things. I will mention on the national level, one of the other things SBA has done is we recently signed an MOU with the U.S. Department of Labor to just make sure that our agencies are really communicating closely on the labor side of the needs as well. And I think the U.S. Department of Labor has a program, the apprenticeship program. Are you familiar with that, Michelle? I'm not sure.
I am.
Are you? Okay. Maybe you can speak to that more than I can, but I do know that SBA is trying to link arms with Department of Labor as well to help also on the workforce side of things.
Very excited about the work that we're doing in the apprenticeship group. Our executive director, Gina Robeson, worked in Department of Labor before she came to IMA, so has a background in apprenticeship. And we are on our 4th cohort of individuals for a semiconductor firm in town to launch together very openly with them, having rural employees, interns, etc. It's a complex program, requires a lot of work, a lot of government oversight, but IMA is helping with apprenticeship programs across a number of different employers.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is.
Wow.
Creating the workforce of the future and the present.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to share about IMA or the work you're doing?
Based on the time we have, I'd like to encourage any of you to reach out to info@idmfg.org. Write down what you'd like to learn about or know. Myself or one of my colleagues will reach out to you. We're here to help no matter your relationship with IMA. Would love to meet with you and talk with you no matter the size, number of employees, or challenge. We're here to help, we're here to serve.
Okay, thank you. And same thing with SBA. We're a local office here in Boise. We serve all of Southern Idaho and Eastern Oregon. Please reach out to us. There's a lot of resources available to you, and we'd love to get you started down that path. And so please reach out to us as well. And appreciate you watching. We'll be right back, but first, a word from our sponsor. Thank you.
I know that the city was really satisfied with how the Central Urban Renewal District was redeveloped, so they cast a wider net to the larger 300-acre River Myrtle District. Train yards and a lot of open fields existed between Front and Myrtle Streets. So the plan was put in place to bring more development, to bring more attraction to the city of Boise. Hey, one of the best things about working at CCDC is that we have the ability to convene, because we've been able to work together and collaborate with agencies, with private sector folks. We're able to complete projects that otherwise wouldn't happen. We've been on a real burner in the last decade. The timing was perfect for this district. Has been a big success for everyone who worked together to make it happen.
We've heard it all. They've doubted us, second-guessed us, overlooked us. But in the face of impossible, we stand defiant. Not denying reality, daring to change it. When we hear no way, we say, watch us. The world is full of people who tell us we can't. It's a good thing we enjoy proving we can. Whether you aim to lead, build, innovate, or heal, your journey forward starts with the courage to claim it. To every maverick within our ranks, consider this your acceptance letter. College of Western Idaho. Let's get started.
Welcome back to BEW Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now we're going to discuss some tariffs and small business, and I'm joined by Lindsay Carmichael. Lindsay, will you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's always exciting to be able to participate at Boise Entrepreneur Week. My name is Lindsay, like Thea mentioned. I am the founder of Soleni Shoes. I started my journey a little over probably 5-6 years ago. And as a lot of entrepreneurs will explain, it's been a struggle with a lot going on. I started just before the pandemic, and it took longer for me to get to market. I ended up making it through the pandemic and switching manufacturing countries. And now we're here to talk about tariffs, which have significantly affected my small business. Outside of Soleni Shoes, I also still work full-time as an orthopedic physician assistant here in the Treasure Valley, so life is very, very busy for me. But I'm always happy to find time to participate in programs like this.
Yes, and I love that. It's your insight's so valuable and that lived experience. It's so unique, but it also transcends, like you said, many experiences of entrepreneurs everywhere. So tell us a little bit about the product, the shoes. You shared too that you switched manufacturing countries. And so, you know, as a small business, how did you navigate that? What prompted the move? And yeah, just a little bit about all that.
Yeah, so I jumped into entrepreneurship really not having any idea what I was doing. I had an idea, I had orthopedic medicine experience, and my experience as an orthopedic physician assistant and treating probably thousands of women here in the Treasure Valley with just sort of bread and butter orthopedic complaints, whether it's knee pain, hip pain, foot pain, and a common theme came out, and I myself experienced it as well, is that we were all really tired of wearing ugly, boxy, you know, orthopedic shoes that are functional for our lives as real estate agents and business owners and moms and just busy women in general. So I came up with the idea, and I knew the basic orthotechnology that I needed in my footbed, and so we designed a contoured footbed that helps alleviate pain from things like plantar fasciitis and heel pain and bunions and things like that, and decided to make a flashier, more aesthetically pleasing, what I like to call ortho chic design, which is a big need for women. We're tired of the ugly, boxy orthopedic shoes. So I started my journey in Mexico. I ended up, you know, they tell you in entrepreneurship, if you don't know what you're doing, you find someone that does. And so I made some different connections in the footwear development field and started in Mexico. And that turned out to just not be a good fit for the technology that I needed. So I navigated a switch to China, which I had the quality that I needed and the technology and all of those things that I couldn't quite find for the type of specialty shoes that are made in Mexico. China was just a much better fit for me. And when you don't really know what you're doing, you make lots of mistakes and you learn along the way. Some of those mistakes cost a lot of money, and some you just end up in a better spot. So I got to market almost 2 years ago now, and so far things have been pretty good. I'm very much bootstrapping this startup. I did raise a small friends and family round of funding, but I'm still, you know, working full time and sort of bootstrapping a lot of what I'm doing now, which is kind of where tariffs have made a big impact into my business.
Yeah, you're already running the business and doing the day-to-day. You have your normal 9-to-5 job, and then Soleni shoes.
Soleni shoes.
I knew I was
yes.
going to get that wrong.
That's okay.
Yeah, so the migration to China for your manufacturer, how was it sourcing, I guess, a manufacturer out there? How did you go about that process?
Yeah, footwear development is actually quite a small world. I'm originally from Oregon, and I am well connected to Portland, Oregon. I have family over there, and that's actually a huge hub for footwear development. You know, some of the huge development companies, like global companies like Nike and Adidas, world campuses are there. So there's a lot of footwear development there. So I was able to reconnect with a developer who actually has employees of his business over in Hong Kong and in southern China, which is a huge manufacturing hubbub for footwear. Mm-hmm. So we shifted. I did really have to start over. So all of the tooling, lasts and steel molds and all of these things, and sourcing new materials and stuff. So I really did have to start all the way over. But overall, the quality and my experience has been what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So it still has its challenges. Everything is overseas, so there's lots of samples going back and forth for fit testing. and things like that. But so far, like, this has been working very well for my company.
And so when tariffs came about, what has that experience been like for you, for your product? How are you communicating with customers and kind of rolling this out?
Yes, so I have so far made 2 big purchase orders. It's a big chunk of change usually because factories have minimums. And so the tariffs actually hit when I had product on the water. And everything with international manufacturing is never really on time. Everything is delayed. So I got hit with 2 unsuspected tariffs because of delays in the vessel. My container would be on the vessel, but they hadn't left. And then once they landed in port here in the United States, the vessel sat for 3 days, and then I got hit with some more tariffs. So it makes it really hard to financially plan and make any financial projections. And my husband and I emptied our bank accounts to get that last shipment through customs. So the good thing is I got them landed before the 145% tariffs hit, because I probably would have lost that product. But the bad thing is, we lost a lot of money with these unsuspecting terms that we weren't sure were going to happen. So I think my perspective has changed a little bit. I have been less focused on progressing to new styles and things like that, and just this year just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what's going to happen next, because I think the uncertainty has been the most frustrating. And I'm just really focusing on selling the inventory, because now I have a lot of inventory, and marketing the brand and just kind of getting the word out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if I'm hearing correctly too, it kind of, the tariffs stifle innovation a little bit and just, new developments and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
I have a pair of, I've been wanting to expand in styles. We started a sandal development, and then I have what's called a confirmation sample of a short boot for the fall and winter, but I haven't been able to move forward with that because of the uncertainty of things. I did consider moving again to another country. I was considering Italy, but again, the uncertainty of just when and where tariffs, it just seems, I don't want to use the word disorganized, but just uncertain as to, I don't want to invest in a whole bunch of new tooling and move all of my manufacturing and then end up with high tariffs in that country. So I'm just sort of sitting back and waiting to see what will happen.
And then as you're, exploring other countries for manufacturing, we have, the onshoring and Made in America initiatives going on. Why not bring that production here to the U.S.? What would that look like for a small business like yours?
Yes, that is a great question. The infrastructure just simply does not exist here to make footwear. And most, if not all, of the raw materials exist overseas in China. So we would be paying for tariffs to import raw materials, to then make the tooling, set up the infrastructure and the manufacturing. And that, I think there have been projections that would cost billions of dollars just in my specific, footwear industry. There are some other smaller shoe brands that have been around for years and have the infrastructure set up. I think Red Wings and a few other companies do manufacture here, but they have all of the infrastructure and all of their tooling and all of that stuff is already here. And the cost of goods to make steel molds, importing all of that stuff is just far outreaching what my little small startup can do. And also, we don't have the workforce, so there's already lots of open manufacturing positions and the skilled labor. So me being just a little guy in a huge footwear space, it just isn't going to happen for me. And I have read some other articles about other, massive corporations like Nike, and I think there's a reason why they don't move here, and the numbers just don't make sense to do that.
So even if you were to onshore, you're not escaping tariffs. You still have tariff.
Correct.
Materials that.
And the cost of labor is, the cost of living and the cost of labor is much higher here. So really I would have to increase my prices just to make a more expensive product for a shoe.
That may move you into a whole different target market and demographic.
Totally.
Wow.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah. It's a very multifaceted issue.
Yes. Lots of layers, lots of understanding of where a lot of these materials come from, how they're made. We talk a lot, Boise is a big tech place. We talk a lot about skilled labor and making technical components, maybe a little less technical for footwear, but still we need skilled labor to get the job done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you have for other companies, maybe not specific to the footwear industry, but just in that same manufacturing tariff space as they're kind of navigating the just unknown?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people willing to give their opinion. And I think as an entrepreneur and a founder, it's really your job to kind of learn how to navigate it yourself, and learning to trust some opinions and not trust others, because I don't know that everyone gives their opinion based on their experience, and they may not have your specific experience in whatever niche you're in. And also learning to do what's right for you and your company. My life has changed quite drastically in my day-to-day since the tariffs hit. I've had to, I was using a third-party fulfillment company here in Boise, and my husband and I had to go and just nab all of our inventory, and now it's in a pods container and my garage and another manufacturing area, and I'm doing the day-to-day fulfillment, which has taken a lot of my time, but I did that to save money. And that was the right decision for my business at the time. But there, are a lot of different options, that places like Boise Entrepreneur Week can provide for people, like more lending and loans. And I didn't feel like that was right for my business at this time, so I just made some changes in my day-to-day operations to try to make it work. But I think the overall messaging is that you have to be flexible, and sometimes, not making crazy decisions when crazy things happen in the world is the right thing, just to sit on it and maybe sit back and wait to see what's right for your company.
I think the watch and wait approach is paramount right now. Things are changing so rapidly.
Yes.
I mean, in the tariff space and small business, but then also in technology and developments there. And so it can be hard to make costly decisions.
Yes.
And dangerous to do so as well, especially for the small businesses.
Yeah. I think it's okay to vet your options and crunch numbers and see what might work. But for me, the uncertainty is why I chose the watch and wait. I could go to another country, I could go to Vietnam, I could go to Italy, but the uncertainty is still going to be there in all of those countries.
So as you're looking towards the future and other areas for manufacturing that might be viable, what are you kind of looking for to support a next step or decision?
Quality is a big thing in my company for manufacturing of shoes. If you're promoting a product, you want that to be the best quality of product. My price range for my shoes is in the 200s, and so you want to make sure that people that are going to spend that amount of money are going to get a good quality product. That's probably the best I got for that one.
I love that. Well, anything else you'd like to share with us as we kind of wrap up this segment?
I don't think so. I think that's all I got.
I thought that was so good. Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on, you mentioned that you had participated in Boise Entrepreneur Week in the past.
Yes.
So as an alumni, I would love to hear a little bit about that experience and how it played into where you're at today.
Yes. I had a wonderful experience pitching at Boise Entrepreneur Week. It was incredibly challenging, lots of practice to dial in your speech. I think it gave me a lot of confidence. They talk about as an entrepreneur, whatever that's called, where you feel like you're not quite worthy
like
of what you're doing.
Syndrome?
Yes, imposter syndrome. Yes. I feel like I have a pretty good presence on stage, but sometimes you just aren't quite sure, whether it's not sure of your product that you're selling or representing or whatever, but it gave me a ton of confidence, which was really important. And another thing I want to mention is I have a daughter who's in 4th grade. I actually named the company after her, which is really cool because she's really proud of that. She tells her friends. But for her to see her mom get up and take these risks and speak in front of a whole bunch of people that's live on TV, it's really empowering for her. And I think that's really cool, and that's also something that I'm very proud of, is to be a role model for her. So
I love that. Yeah, and stewarding that confidence.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, what a gift.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and
thanks for having me.
yes, I think it's such an important conversation, and that hopefully things will settle and you will have clarity and be able to move forward in the ways that your small business needs.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be right back, but first, a word from our sponsors.
My name is Sharon Popple, and I'm the CEO of Executive Allies. So when most people think about accountants, they're thinking about the pocket protectors, the green visors. We keep our green visors hidden. We like to wear fun socks instead. And what that means is we like to bring a little bit of levity to the conversations that can be tougher, and to make sure that we're seeing the owners and the people that we work with as human. I would say one of the benefits of bringing on a company like Executive Allies that acts as a fractional accounting department is that we have a whole team that has a range of experience. We've got bookkeepers, we've got staff level accountants, we have controllers, and we have CFOs. The majority of time when people reach out to us, they're not coming to us with clean books. And they're not alone. You're not alone in your messy accounting, and you're not alone in not understanding how things should look. That's where we come in. And so when you hire a team like ours, we have not only the experience of an individual on our team, but also the entire team's knowledge of working with over 40 companies over the last year. We've seen tech stacks that work for different types of industries. And so we have a really broad range of skill set that can come and serve turnkey into any business. Whether you're a startup business or an established business that's been around for years, we're here to help.
Welcome to Trailhead Boise. We're located in the heart of downtown Boise. My name is Jacob. I'm our Director of Operations. Let me show you our co-working space. Our co-working memberships are designed to be affordable and accessible to any price point, and we offer two main types of memberships. What you're seeing behind me is our hot desk membership. This is your standard co-working setup. All of our desks are seat stand adjustable. They come with a monitor and an HDMI hookup. You come in, you find an open desk, and you get to work. If you're looking for a little bit more of a dedicated experience in a co-working space, we offer a dedicated desk membership. This provides you 24/7 access to Trailhead, a desk that's reserved for your exclusive use, and the ability to leave equipment, decorate the desk how you please, make it your own. Both of these membership levels come with access to reserve our meeting rooms. We've got a private meeting room, which is great for confidential calls, 2 group meeting rooms, which are conference style, great for collaboration, and then we've got 2 phone booths, which are great for quick calls on the go. Co-working is really just the beginning. We have a full suite of programs like Boise Pitch Night, Lead Idaho, Boise Entrepreneur Week, Ideas at Go, and many more, which you can find on our website, tailored to help you at any step of your entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're at the very first stages, trying to take an idea from a napkin and turn it into a business, or you're pitching for your first investment, all the way to raising your Series A rounds. We have a full suite of tailored programs to help you learn the skills you need to be successful and connect you to the people in our resources who can help take your business to the next level. So whether you're an entrepreneur looking to start or grow your business, or a remote worker looking to switch up the home office and find community, we're probably a great fit for you. Check us out next time you're in downtown Boise.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining our live session. My name is Jenny Myers.
I'm Deanna Shear. I am with a creative consultancy here in Boise called Against.
Yes, same here. So today we are joining because we are going to talk all about AI and creativity. AI is the hot topic everybody's talking about. Obviously, you're probably overhearing about it, but we wanted to talk a little bit about how we think about it, how we work with it, how it is integrated into our daily lives at our agency, and that's it. That's the gist. That's what we're going to talk about here. So, Deanna, do you want to talk a little bit about like your background and how you show up at Against, and we can kind of go back and forth on that part.
Yeah, so my role, official title at Against, is I am the Director of Creative Strategy, and so I am so fortunate to get to be involved in like every single step of the process, all the way from initial research. Typically, how our process works is a client approaches us with some sort of problem. It can be a problem in marketing and branding and whatever it is their world is. And we dive in deep from research all the way through to coming up with a solution, whatever that looks like. And so I get to touch sort of every piece of that, from that initial research all the way through to final execution. And AI has become a really incredible tool all the way through that process.
Do you ever, so I get this, when I get in conversations with people as a creative person, I think everyone talks about how AI is going to take over our jobs and the robots are coming for us. And AI is obviously at the precipice of that. And like, do you have those conversations? Like, are your friends always asking, like, are you afraid that your job's going to go away?
100%. And like, I think one of my favorite parts of being asked that question is I'm getting asked that question oftentimes by people who like deal with numbers in their everyday lives. And the thing that always comes to mind is it's like, of all the industries to be taken over by robots, why is everyone so focused on creativity specifically? When in reality, AI is so much better at processing more like binary information. For whatever reason, creativity has become a very central part of the conversation, but there are just certain aspects of creativity that I
firmly believe AI will never be able to replace. And I don't know about you, but I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is not the first time that this has happened, where technology has advanced to the point of where it's changing the way people work and the way people do their jobs. And there's always this sense of instability when something like that happens, because it's, you know, the way that you used to show up at work and the daily tasks that you used to do change.
And I think about the internet all the time.
Yes.
Like, I remember, I was a little bit younger, but I remember when the internet first came onto the scene, or even when just digital programs came into the scene, like specifically looking at the creative field. And there was so much fear around that, but in reality, creative people are incredible at adapting and learning
100%.
new technology. And if anything, we only get better at our jobs the more tools we have in our toolkits.
Yes,
So.
underline, highlight, double check, absolutely.
Yeah.
Creativity is going to be fundamental. Creatives are the ones who thrive in these environments. They're the ones who thrive through change. We are comfortable in ambiguity. We, we're always going to ask those questions and find a way through. Now, it might impact, well, and it certainly has impacted the day-to-day tasks and how you're working on things, but certainly, like right now, I would say most people who are, at least in my experience, most people who are using AI use it to create efficiencies and to get to those really bad ideas fast, right? Like it used to take us forever to get to those really bad ideas, and you'd spend all this time laboring over, you know, this really crappy concept and working it out and doing storyboards and all that stuff, and only to find out that it's a terrible, terrible idea.
Totally.
Well, AI is helping to expedite that. You're getting to those really crappy ideas a lot faster. So, and I do think that is in general what, you know, when you think about our clients or clients in general, right? And people, this is, I think, under the precipice of why people think that AI is going to take our jobs.
Right.
Because it has democratized access to the ability to be able to create things.
Yeah.
And absolutely, AI can help you create things, but it's based on like best practices, right?
Right.
And when you are, I mean, that's mid. Like that's the middle of everything. Like that's not creating anything innovative, anything great.
Anything that breaks the rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to make a lot more people have the ability to create things that are, you know, to use a word my teenager would use, mid.
Oh, God.
But it's not going to create anything, to your point, that's like genuinely innovative.
Yeah. Well, the way I always think about it is that, like, I kind of hinted at this earlier, but AI ultimately is informed by data. It's informed by information that already exists. And so I think what AI excels at in a lot of ways is sort of becoming an echo chamber, either an echo chamber of stuff that already exists on the internet or information that you're already feeding it. It's not necessarily great at coming up with its own ideas. And so when you get stuck in that echo chamber, what you're going to get out of it as a new product are just recycled ideas and stuff that's already been done before. And really what we're in the business of doing is that creative problem solving piece. And people come to us not to get ideas that already exist. They come to us to get new ideas that are a reflection of their brand, their organization, their product, whatever it is. And in order to get to those ideas, you need to have those original thoughts, those original...
Well, and based on strategy too.
Exactly.
So yes, anybody can generate the thing, but if the thing's not grounded in something that is like human-centered or insightful based off of the lived human experience, then it's so, God, what's the word? There's a word that I've been thinking of course, like on camera, that's what I'm gonna forget. These words. Like,
well, you're reminding me of a question I had earlier kind of around this, which is, I feel like we're talking about a lot of the characteristics that AI does have. What are some of the characteristics that are like fundamentally human that AI could never replace? Like what are some of those like creative qualities that we're always going to bring to the table that AI can't?
Human empathy, taste.
I
think that, you know, again, AI is the amalgamation of everything that already exists and everything that's already out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of crap out there that's not tasteful. It's not well done. I think genuinely, so obviously we work in marketing and advertising, and people expect us to love advertising. And I hate advertising. Everybody does, right? We're all like hovering over that little skip ad button in YouTube until we can get to the thing that we actually want to watch, right? Advertising is like this tax that we have to pay as humans to get to the thing that we actually want to do. And that is because people are ignoring that there's a human being on the other side.
Right.
And that is what an AI is going to enable you to do, is to just create more of that stuff that ignores human beings. And you have to be able to relate to that human, like that genuine lived human experience.
Yeah, and it'll never be able to do that. The other things that come to mind for me when I think about like what is it that AI will never be able to do are things like the ability to ask really good questions. And I think that gets back to your human empathy piece. I think one of the most powerful things that we do at Against as a creative consultancy is ask the right questions to learn and be able to solve the problem.
Right.
Like AI, you can ask it to ask questions, but again, it's sort of asking just like the same kinds of questions that you'd expect to be asked in any given industry. And so I think that's just another like facet of that human empathy piece that is really compelling, and that is a superpower of creatives, is the ability to dig deeper.
Yes.
Through question asking. The other thing that I think about oftentimes is like looking at the world around us. Like, yes, AI is a reflection of all this incredible information on the internet, but it doesn't know how to tap into like that real world lived experience. Like right now we're working on a project for a brand. We're creating a new brand. And honestly, some of the greatest inspiration that I've gotten for it recently has been just stuff I've experienced in every time I go to a coffee shop or every time I go to a wine store. Like I'm seeing things that AI will never be able to perceive, and it's providing more inspiration than you could ever get just from like that one central.
Yeah, and I think that like that human perception and context, it's
right.
You know, if I were to summarize it into 3 words, I would say it's human empathy, taste, and context.
Yeah.
Those things are really challenging for AI to like be a great stunt double. And I forgot to ground us in where we were today. Today is, you know, September 30th. 2025. So if you're watching this, you know, in 2027 or 2028, and there are no longer human beings on the planet, then just know that at one point we were very hopeful and optimistic about the future. But what advice would you give to? So we're both instructors and teachers. Like we have a history of doing that. I teach at Boise State. I teach a lot of young human beings, and they are really. A lot of them are really afraid of what's going to happen, and they feel unstable about the future and what kind of jobs they're going to have, and especially if they are pursuing a degree or a future in the creative industry.
Yeah.
And like, what sort of advice do you? I know what I would tell the students, but what kind of advice would you give them
in terms of like how to enter this field for the first time,
or
or
just
like
to help them navigate this space of, you know, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, and
it's a very valid fear for what it's worth. I mean, just in that anytime things change, it's natural to feel concerned. And I think, you know, there's a lot of studies coming out around the fact that Gen Z is having a harder time now than ever finding entry-level jobs, because AI does make so many of those more like entry-level tasks that you need to sort of learn. It is making them more efficient and decreasing the need for those more entry-level jobs. So I understand where the concern comes from. I think oftentimes when you're starting out in your career, especially in the creative field, you get so focused on the tools. You get so focused on how do I execute this? And that's a very important piece of the puzzle. Like, you need to be technically good at what you do. But I think the thing that people oftentimes forget is the fact that really we're in the business of problem solving. I keep on saying this, and not to sound like a broken record, but I say it because it's important. And so when you're coming up as a designer, as a creative, as in advertising, marketing, whatever it is, I would really focus on getting better at learning how to ask good questions, learning how to dig deep into a problem, learning how to have human conversations and serve as like a consultant for whoever it is you're serving, working for, whoever your client is, and really focus on building those human-centered skills with creativity being the product.
Yeah. Chef's kiss. Beautifully said. The other thing I tell them too is to lean, well, God, I hate that term, lean in. It almost escapes my mouth. But to, I guess, embrace artificial intelligence and play with it, right?
Definitely.
We're at this really interesting place in time that will never happen again, where everyone is learning. And when you think about when the internet first emerged on the scene, it was the early adopters, the people who were playing with it every day, who weren't intimidated by it, who were learning how to code and making horrible mistakes and making really, really ugly things. But they're the individuals who thrived and created innovative things that continued to improve the way that we navigate the internet and the products that we use, and SaaS products. So now is the time to play with those things and to not be intimidated. All right, we need to wrap up. I could talk about this for like hours and hours. We needed more time. I don't know why
what
they only
was
gave us
that?
15
That felt
minutes,
like no time at all.
Okay, so thanks for watching. We are going to be right back, but we need to hear a note from our sponsors. So the people who make all of this happen, thank you.
Small business owners are resilient. We wear many hats. There is not one day that often looks the same. Since the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, we have been given the tools to now increase our revenue and also our employee retention rate. Things change all the time, so we knew that being part of the Goldman Sachs program was vital, and it really gave me the opportunity to see that we can think bigger.
InTimeTech is a global software services and solutions company with a brand promise of ROI or don't pay. Our goal is to help you accomplish your business objectives. Backed by a global team with expertise in, well, any technology you need. At the end of the day, InTimeTech is a platform for creating abundance. We just happen to build software.
Well, I think it's important for an entrepreneur to establish a relationship with a law firm early, because the more we understand about what your business is and what your challenges are, the better I can advise you. Our attorneys live, work, and play here in Idaho. We understand what is going on in our clients' lives beyond their legal needs, so that gives us an advantage in that we understand Idahoans and folks in the Mountain West.
Because of the relationship I built with Parsons, I know that when I have pressing legal matters, I can get a timely response from my attorney, which allows me to make good business decisions.
Part of what sets us apart too is our ability to be flexible and grow with the clients. As the clients grow, we can handle small matters, your initial matters, and then as you get bigger, we have the staff right here to handle your complex and big matters.
Whether you're a startup or an entrepreneur or an established business, Parsons has the breadth of experience to handle whatever your legal needs might be.
Welcome back. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Isaac Belden. I am the founder and executive director at the Veteran Entrepreneur Alliance. We, along with our partners at Mission 43, we operate the military track at Boise Entrepreneur Week. We're always very grateful to be here and be a part of this event and everything that it does in the business community. Today, I am excited to be sitting with a VEA member, actually, and a friend, Donald with Rattler Medical. He is also the grand champion, if you will, of Boise Entrepreneur Week 2024. Donald, thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me. I feel lucky to have the opportunity to sit down and talk with you based on our connection, and just I'm extremely happy for everything that's been happening for you and the journey that you're on. And
I appreciate it.
How are you doing today?
Busy.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I wanted to start by just talking a little bit about your path. What really led you to what you're doing now? And then ultimately, in the frame of Boise Entrepreneur Week, what led you to that main pitch competition last year and the eventual big fat check?
Yeah, so what we're developing is a battery-powered cooler. I don't know if you can see it on camera right here, but that's our kind of working prototype. Come a long way since last year. It kind of looked like BPD might be showing up with their bomb squad to try and defuse something, but it worked. But yeah, it was neat. I had when I was a medic in the Army trying to find a way to carry blood more reliably, and I just couldn't find anything good on the market. So I said, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. YouTube, Reddit, how do I do this? And kind of built out a semi-functional, mostly functional prototype that worked, and was like, oh cool, this technology will work. I don't know why no one else is doing it, but I'm going to be the first person to do it and learn all the hard lessons the hard way.
When you say more reliably, you mean like increasing the lifespan of blood on the battlefield, right?
I mean, at the time, there's better solutions now, but they're all big and bulky still.
Mhm.
They haven't quite figured out how to make them compact.
Yeah.
At the time, the best we could do, they claimed 24 hours. I never have talked to anybody who uses that system that got more than 18 hours of reliability out of it. And they use gel or ice packs, which are old, and there's way better technology now that no one is using, mostly because no one can figure out how to use it properly until I managed to figure it out. And now we're able to reliably hold blood for over 48 hours.
That's incredible. I love the fact that you were able to turn your experience in the military into something that quite literally will save lives, can absolutely save lives on the battlefield by extending the period of time that blood can be kept viable, as well as making it less cumbersome for those on the battlefield to transport it. Because anybody that's served knows that you've already got a ridiculous amount of weight on your back. Yeah, so to add an additional however much weight that thing weighs is definitely a big ask. So awesome. You won Boise Entrepreneur Week last year, 2024. You won the $50,000 grand prize. Tell me a little bit about your journey to get there.
That was several years in the making.
Yeah.
I went through Mission 43, partnered up with the Boise Venture College, and they did like an incubator type thing. So I went through that.
It's called the Garage at the time, I think, right? The Entrepreneur Garage.
No.
No.
I'm wrong. I don't know. That was like 2019. It was like 2020, I think, 2021, somewhere in there.
What is time?
Yeah, it's all relevant. But went through that, and then Ryan Vassa, the one that was leading it, he was like, hey, you should apply for the Boise Entrepreneur Week. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, I applied for it, got to the semifinals. I was number 9. Only the top 8 got to go pitch. And then that's when Mission 43 was like, hey, or I think it was even you. I was like, hey, we have a military track. You can still apply for that. And I was like, okay, sure. So I applied for that. I did not win that pitch competition.
In my defense, we were not giving away enough money to be meaningful for you.
Yeah, well, a bunch of the judges were like, hey, you had a phenomenal pitch. And like, $5,000 to you isn't even a drop in the bucket. Like, you should really be in the main pitch competition. I'm like, well, I was number 9 out of 8. Like I missed it by that much.
Yeah.
So they put me here, but I walked away winning from that. I made a great connection with Sawtooth Advisors and a bunch of other community members that really helped shape kind of that trajectory and that path. And then applied the next year for the Boise Entrepreneur Week and made it all the way to the final night. And then most anxious and nervous night of my entire life when I was sitting there. It was rough because they were like, all right, so second place for the main pitch competition. And then they did everything else before that one. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, come on. I'm like,
that's awesome.
And then I got like a little peek at the check when they brought the check around. I saw a T and I was like, I think I'm the only company with a T in my name. I'm like, no, there's no way. And they're like, yeah, Donald Young with Rattler Medical. I was like, oh shit. That was me.
It was so cool to see. Like, we didn't really the VEA. We didn't really play much of a part in it, but it was so cool to see somebody in our community take on a task like that against all of these other great companies, and to rise to the top. It was just really cool and just a really good example of what our military members, what our veterans can do when they apply the skill set that they've learned over their time in the military and turn it into good in the world.
I mean, 3 of the winners for Boise Entrepreneur Week historically are all military.
Yeah, so kind of a story you probably know, but maybe those listening don't. That was really the thing that was the tipping point that led to a military track existing. So I'd been stalking TM for years, trying to convince them that there needed to be a military track, and he was never opposed to it. But it was when James and
then Ashley,
and then there was one other, but 3 of the 4 winners that year were veterans or veteran connected or military connected. And so I remember texting him kind of in the middle of the night saying, hey man, like if this isn't proof, I don't know what is. And then the rest is history. We teamed up with Mission 43 and made it happen. So I just love that you're a part of that story. And I've loved to see all of the success that you've had so far. So let's dig into that a little bit. Since winning, right? I know you've been incredibly busy. You've been all over the place. You've been doing all of these different programs and accelerators and stuff. So tell me a little bit of kind of the story of where you've gone since.
Yeah, so after winning that, I was finally able to pay my lawyer for business stuff. Thank you, Perkins Coie, for being generous and not harassing me all the time. But like, I mean, the big thing, it really gave me like the first kind of moment of like, oh, this is not just like a side project or a hobby. Like I went full-time in on this in August, and it was like, I got 6 months of money saved up. I'm either going to make something work out of this, or I'm going to go flip burgers at McDonald's. And I'm a year later and somehow still going. So there's a sign from whatever being you might believe in that this is the right path. I was able to we've raised $275,000 to date. And we actually just had this down with Special Operations Command a few weeks ago down in North Carolina, and they used and abused it and did way more testing than I was prepared for. They were like, can we strap it to a drone? I'm like, yeah. Sure. I mean, it's the last day. I guess worst case scenario, I don't have to ship it home when it inevitably breaks, and strapped it to a drone. They're like, can we do an airdrop with it? I was like, oof, it's definitely breaking now. Like, sure, whatever, I don't care.
And it didn't break?
This was a unit we dropped.
That's incredible.
It parachute deployed, it landed in a swath of bushes, so that may be why it didn't break. But it survived. The blood bags inside didn't rupture. The electronics kept running and no issues. And we're like, all right, cool. And then we met another company that does like a ground drone, essentially, unmanned. And I was just like, hey, like, what would it take to integrate this in with your system? And he was like, you want to do it right now? They're getting ready to go do a training exercise with one of the special operations groups that were there. And I'm like, I don't have any way to mount it. He's like, you mind if we just zip tie it? I'm like, okay. So we just zip tied it to one of like the beams on their ground drone, and they were doing donuts and hitting jumps and just beating the crap out of it. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go through this cornfield and pick up pieces of this cooler. I just know it. And it didn't. It survived. We're like, well, we weren't expecting that, so that's a good thing, I guess. Keep running with it. But then we have 2 fully functional units right here. We're working on some new designs. Have a bunch of patents in the works right now to make this the most efficient cooler really on the market. And it'll rival that of your fridges at home, if not be better.
I just think that it's something that we really push at our organization is community, right? Like having the right people around you that are going to tell you that you're doing a good job, but also tell you when you're doing something stupid, right? And it feels like, just from what I've seen and what you're saying is really everything that has come after, or everything that's happened to this point really came from getting into that that flow with Boise Entrepreneur Week and meeting all of these people that then became your support system, that are the ones that now want to see you. Your success feels a little bit like success to them, and they want to see you get there. So all of these different programs and things that you've gotten into, for the most part, they've come from that community, right? Like suggestions or introductions. It's incredible.
I mean, the military, we have like our tribe or whatever. And I mean, a lot of veterans, they kind of struggle when they get out of the military, going back into normal society where you're used to having, friends that you're always with, you're embracing the suck, as we call it, or whatever. But being able to find that tribe when you come out, and that's like one great thing about the VEA and Mission 43 is they kind of help rebuild that tribe up. And I mean, you could have $10 trillion in the bank, but if you don't know anyone, then you're really not worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the main reason the VEA even exists, right? Like entrepreneurship gave me back a sense of purpose. It gave me back, I felt like I had a mission. I had a reason to get up and put one foot in front of the other every day again. And it's something that I didn't realize at the time, but I lost it when I left service. And so I just trying to find my place in the world. And I know just from our conversations, you have kind of been in the same place in the past, and I'm glad that you were able to find something to give you kind of some meaning and purpose again. That's also just, silver lining, probably gonna save some people's lives.
I mean, most definitely will save lives.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it. Yeah, I mean, it's great having a system where I can help build that community up and not just take from it, but also give back to that as well.
Yeah.
You sent people my way, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, let me help you out. Like, I'm where I'm at because I had people who did the same thing for me. They're like, oh, hey, man, we've been where you're at. Like, let's help you get your pitch deck done or your pitch practice, or just someone to go like, hey, man, I kind of have this idea. What do you think? And we'll bounce those ideas back and forth as like even just a sounding board. Like, it means a ton.
Well, the community cares so much, right? Even Gentry at Cordova Outdoors, right? Being willing to just take a random meeting just off of a text message.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the guy's not busy building, sending coolers all over the country and the world, right?
Yeah.
And he takes the time to sit down with a local veteran that's trying to do something special, and I absolutely love it. So, real quick, as we're wrapping up, I just want, if you could give anybody that's listening or that might watch this later online, if you could give them any advice on or inspiration, what would you want to share with somebody tuning into this?
I wish someone told me how terrible it is. If you're like, oh, you're your own boss, you do your own thing, but I mean, I'm driven towards making this a success. I spend probably way more time than I would if I worked a normal job, but it's that long-term payoff, and you're working towards that goal. Don't lose sight of that. Keep pushing towards that end goal, but shoot past that too. Like, my first goal was to make a prototype. I made one. And it was like, cool, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
And then, that's when I met people, they're like, oh, here's how, you should go about this. And now I'm like, cool, so my goal is to get this to market, but then also scale it, get into the military, get into EMS. So how can I do steps early on to ease that and keep that progress going without losing track of that and losing sight of that?
Well, and just kind of to wrap that up, I think that it's important that people understand that there's no right or wrong, no dead set right or wrong way to do any of this. And your wins are going to come with your losses, and your losses are going to come with your wins, and sometimes they're equally as important to the journey. And so you've experienced both really high highs and really low lows, and being able to ride that out and be able to make it to the other side, and to be able to be a sounding board or an inspiration or a guiding light of some sort to other people that are trying to go down the path that you have gone down and are continuing to go down. I think that that's really important, and it's really great of you to want to give back in that. So I just want to thank you. I love watching what you're doing. It's inspiring. It's an example of what we can do, and we set our minds to it, and we're not willing to take no for an answer. So again, thank you. I appreciate you. And to everybody watching, thank you. We're going to be right back, but first we are going to hear a quick word from our sponsors.
The Boise office of Perkins Coie is one of our smaller offices by size, but definitely not one of the smaller ones by heart and passion. I love our team, I love our culture in the office. We have a great camaraderie. There's a spirit of collaboration and congeniality here. We have a lot of the key practice groups represented here. We've got litigation, business of course, environmental, intellectual property, and that creates kind of a keystone to being able to reach out to the support in the rest of the firm. So, if a client is working with the folks in the Boise office, they're not just working with the Boise office, they're working with the whole firm. Boise is exploding right now. Folks come in on a regular basis that are interested in opportunities to either invest in companies or invest in the community and be a part of it. We do this in furtherance of the bigger mission, which is making the community a better business environment and a better community for everyone.
Zions Bank is proud to support Boise Entrepreneur Week and the hardworking individuals who are pursuing their dreams of business ownership. As a market leader in small business lending, Zions Bank supports Idaho entrepreneurs as you create jobs and fuel our economy. Our experienced and dedicated team of Zions bankers is ready to help with your business banking, cash management, and personal banking needs. From Idaho's capital city to the rolling hills of the Palouse, and from the heart of the Magic Valley to our beloved resort towns, Zions Bank is invested in our communities because our communities are invested in Zions Bank.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great? Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Welcome to Trailhead Boise. We're located in the heart of downtown Boise. My name is Jacob. I'm our Director of Operations. Let me show you our co-working space. Our co-working memberships are designed to be affordable and accessible to any price point, and we offer two main types of memberships. What you're seeing behind me is our hot desk membership. This is your standard co-working setup. All of our desks are seat stand adjustable. They come with a monitor and an HDMI hookup. You come in, you find an open desk, and you get to work. If you're looking for a little bit more of a dedicated experience in a co-working space, we offer a dedicated desk membership. This provides you 24/7 access to Trailhead, a desk that's reserved for your exclusive use, and the ability to leave equipment, decorate the desk how you please, make it your own. Both of these membership levels come with access to reserve our meeting rooms. We've got a private meeting room, which is great for confidential calls, 2 group meeting rooms, which are conference style, great for collaboration, and then we've got 2 phone booths, which are great for quick calls on the go. Co-working is really just the beginning. We have a full suite of programs like Boise Pitch Night, Lead Idaho, Boise Entrepreneur Week, Ideas at Go, and many more, which you can find on our website, tailored to help you at any step of your entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're at the very first stages, trying to take an idea from a napkin and turn it into a business, or you're pitching for your first investments, all the way to raising your Series A rounds. We have a full suite of tailored programs to help you learn the skills you need to be successful and connect you to the people in our resources who can help take your business to the next level. So whether you're an entrepreneur looking to start or grow your business, or a remote worker looking to switch up the home office and find community, we're probably a great fit for you. Check us out next time you're in downtown Boise.
All right, we're back at Boise Entrepreneurship Week Live. My name is Eric Gilbert. I'm with Duck Club Entertainment, Tree Fort Music Fest here in Boise, Idaho. And I'm excited to have a little conversation around the cultural economy with my good friends and colleagues, Dio Adadilli. Oh my gosh, I was gonna go for it. I tried.
Ayadilli.
Thank you, Dio. And Amanda Ashley from Boise State. And Amanda's gonna help us get started by what is a cultural economy, or how do the academics think of it?
In the most confusing way possible. Yeah. No, just kidding. So I would say, like, just generally, depending upon who you ask, the cultural economy is going to mean different things to different people. But like in the research that we do, we tend to think about it in a variety of different kinds of buckets. So like one bucket, and it's the bucket that people most commonly think of, is when we're talking about the economy and we're talking about entrepreneurship, is like focusing on the connection to tourism. And tourism is one bucket that we tend to think about. But it's the other buckets that have been relatively hidden, that are deeply important to how we think about the economy, and have shifted over time. And so we tend to think about the artists as creators, developers, innovators, entrepreneur in their own right. That it's not just about that they bring tourism, it's that they have this kind of creative engine in their brain, and how they express it is actually really good for our communities and also really good for our economy. And we never tended to think about that before. We only ever tended to think about another kind of bucket, which is just thinking about industries, like the creative industries. And we often only thought about them from like nonprofits. We never thought about them in terms of all of the incredible, both small to large businesses, when we think about the industries. And it's not just about the performing arts that are important, but it's also about film and music and food and all sorts of other things that are at the heart of what we do. And then one of the other kinds of buckets that we think about are the ways in which, when you walk down the street and you can see it, you can taste it, you can hear it, and it creates really interesting places to live that both attract the kinds of workers that are important to our economy, but also elevates and honors and respects the people that have been here forever, and how we do that. And so when we think about the economy, we think about everything from nonprofits to for-profit to civic activity, and we think about everything from like traditional performing arts to some of the newer areas that we normally didn't talk about before, like music and film.
Yeah, great. I love that. And we're here at Boise Entrepreneurship Week, and I think a lot of people don't think of the cultural side of our economy as entrepreneurial, right? But I think if you start a band, that's like starting a small business. But Dio, I'm curious. So you founded and lead a nonprofit called Global Lounge.
That's right. Yeah.
But you've kind of functioned as an entrepreneur to get that off the ground. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin story and what your work is?
Yeah. Well, what we do mostly is pretty much we preserve culture. You know, and how do we do that? We also use it as an education tool, and also the third thing is sharing with the community. But it's kind of morphed into a lot of things, because what Global Lounge does, apart from doing the music and art, we've actually ventured into what I would call, I guess, maybe I'll say creative economy as well, because now we have what we call West Bench Farmers Market, where we have a lot of the, new Americans there, like people from other places, to gather and also serve as a business incubator as well for these people. And then when you come to that space, you will see everyone from people selling windows, you know, I mean, like, yeah, and then selling clothes, selling produce, selling all kind of different things. So, you know, again, I think, you know, being that what you say is like there's that economic factor as well that we do. And then we also do the World Village, which, you know, you helped us most of the time. Yeah. And that's bringing the community together. And what does that have? Food, which is very important in culture. So people, you know, pretty much cater, you know, they have food, and they also have all the arts and craft to sell, apart from the, you know, what the performers do. Yeah.
When did you start Global Lounge? Global
Lounge was actually founded in 2006, and it's pretty much, you know, it came out of, you know, what I at that time saw as an opportunity for the community, because my daughter is biracial. You know, we got here, it was a little hard at the beginning, and we just felt that, you know, we needed to educate the community and bring them together. And you were one of the people I actually came to say, can you help me? Let's make this thing happen. And since then, it's been really great. So that's how it started, yes.
Yeah. You know. Seems like you've built out some, like a third place or a home for a lot of people in this community, for a lot of new Americans. But I think you bring a lot of people that want to support those cultures. Right?
Exactly, yeah, because I think a place is very important. Yeah. You know, when we're even talking about culture, you know, which is in the arts world, it's called placemaking, you know, which is what we have on Music and Co. Pretty much like a culture hub for everyone. So we do performances there. And people also use it as a place to practice, to preserve their culture. So we have the Chinese, the Mexican, the Bosnian community. There's a lot of different communities that come to the space to use it to kind of just also keep their culture. And again, the other good thing about it is like it makes our city a livable place, because you have all these expats now that came from other countries working for different companies here. So they have a place to congregate or come together and do things with the host community as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, one of the things that I love about what you just said is like how you're talking about these like different places, and the connection to both community and economic development. And the cultural planner for the city of Boise, Tilly Bubb, would often say to me, can you imagine, because sometimes like people don't know like where to find arts and culture, even though we all know that it's all around us, and we know it's a hidden economy, we know it's a hidden in hidden places and all sorts of other things. But she's like, can you imagine if you just put a blanket over all the arts and cultural places in all of our neighborhoods and in downtown, like it would be so clear, like the impact that these places have. And I think about how what you have done, like in that neighborhood, and how much I love that farmers market and coming to it for so many different kinds of reasons. I think about you, Eric, and the different teams that you're on that have remade downtown, like through music and also in support of a variety of other arts and cultural organizations. And I know I can't even begin to understand the kind of like effort that goes into that entrepreneurial activity, and it's elemental to like who we are as a city.
I think a lot of the cultural economy work seems to land in like creating and preserving space. You know, that a lot of it starts in temporary spaces, right? Like I think of Tree Fort and festivals in general. You were in temporary spaces for a long time, almost like food trucks too, like food too. You know, it's like like we create these temporary spaces and kind of like proof of concept. And so those that don't know the work that we do, we now have 2 venues that we run: Shrine Social Club and Tree Fort Music Hall, and Hap. And now it's a different perspective when you're now like, when you have space, like how you make sure to incorporate the community in that, because access to space is super important. You know, I think that's too. You now have a brick and mortar opportunity to really build out that like work. But it's hard. That's one of the things. It's hard in a growing city for work like this that tends to operate at lower, tighter margins to win the battle for space, right? So that's where like being, you know, interdependent on the public sector as well as the private sector to see the value in preserving that space, right?
Sure.
I'm sure you in your work a lot, like without space, you know, like, or at least the ability to pop up a festival or the funding to be able to do it.
No, place is very important because people identify with it. They associate, you know, they see it as a place where they can go. I mean, for a long time before we even got the space, it was hard for us because people always ask, where can we find you? Where you guys at? You know, those kind of things. But since we have that space, it's been pretty, you know, I mean, it's just an eye-opener for me, especially, like, wow, how much that's very valuable to our city. You know, because, again, flowing into the farmers market as well, throwing that in. So I think, you know, culture is very, very important, I think. And because, and even coming to even back to what you mentioned about bands and things like that, what Tree Fort and Duck Club has done, I think it's been really amazing because you've actually made a lot of people stay in this city because I know when it used to be like you form a band and people they just move to Seattle or move to Portland because they don't see anything for them here, you know, but being that you guys are, you know, this, I mean, Tree Fort, you know, Duck Club, you've actually kind of changed that dynamics a little bit, that people are like, you know, wow, this is actually a cool place to stay and live, you know. So I think, you know, I mean, none of this is, you know, I mean, lost anything. It just needs, I think it needs to be encouraged and invested in. That's my thought.
One of the things I love, and you're a good example of this, and we talk about this a lot, like let's use musicians as the art form. A lot of them also do other things, you know, like you have a great band called Afrosonics, but you also run a really important organization for others. Last night at the opening party for this, I was talking to someone in tech who is also a bass player, and it's important to them that they live in a town where they can also play
and do music,
play in a band. Like the like hobbyist level of the culture economy is super important too, right? So
for sure.
And like I think, you know, one of the most important steps, and of course I'm going to say this because like I'm a researcher, is that like we actually understand like the infrastructure that we currently have, that we understand like, you know, what are the hobbyists, what are the people that are actually trying to make a career out of this, like how are they translating their incredible creative skills into other both arts and non-arts industry, like how do, what do we have here and what don't we have here and what should we have here? Like I think that there is like this strong sense that the arts are important, but they are not just an amenity, right? They're elemental, and that we have to be able to understand why that is and to help be able to articulate that story, whether it's about preserving cultures, celebrating cultures, whether that's about helping encourage like industries and small businesses that are here, but we need to figure out how to support them in the same way we do with other kinds of entrepreneurial activities. And it's not just because the arts are nice, it's because like if you just look globally, nationally at the state, like it is an incredibly important set of economic generators.
I think infrastructure is such an interesting conversation that doesn't get framed like that very often, but if you think of the places that we have, or we built those out of almost sheer will, obviously a community around it that would help, but the public sector doesn't naturally think of how to build infrastructure for the creative economy as much as they might think of agriculture or other things. And so I think that's been a cool part of the evolution of the conversation here in Boise, because I think it's better understanding of that.
And like good partners in that space that are like willing to be open and to like, you know, and not pretend to know everything, right? Like everybody has like a kind of curiosity to try to learn more about that, and I know it's something I appreciate.
which research helps a lot. So appreciate
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah, thank you.
There's
Yeah.
one thing in the creative economy, those in the music world, we just tend to just pummel ahead and do what we want to do and don't spend a lot of time understanding it. The work,
Well, and then look
so,
what happened. All sorts of amazing things.
It's
that,
passionate.
getting to sit with
It's
both of you
passionate,
is,
Will. Yeah.
I'm constantly reminded of all the awesome stuff that you and your teams have done.
Well, we're about to wrap. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think, I just, I guess my pitch or my, message is that hopefully, investors or the private community can see art as important as any other tool thing, because I feel that, even, if you talk agriculture or any other thing, you always think creatively before you go implement what you want to do. So I think support for that is always a good thing.
So access to infrastructure and capital.
Exactly, thank you, yes indeed.
And continuing to invest in the relationships and partnerships that we have, and being open to new places that we might find collaborators that we didn't have before, because it does take a wide variety of people in different kinds of positions with different kinds of passions and expertise to be able to build it even more so.
For sure.
Such a pleasure being in community with both of you, and thanks for being part of the conversation today.
Great.
You've been watching Boise Entrepreneurship Week Live. Now stay tuned for a word from our sponsors? ?
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Vinyl cares about Idaho and its people. A huge portion of our team and founding partners grew up here, live here, we're from here. And by investing in our community, it's also a great way for us to stay sharp. Our team gets to practice the principles of being of service within our ecosystem, which reinforces the mindset that's also required to deliver great software. A big part of Vinyl's ethos is investing in the communities that we live, work, and play. That's why Vinyl believes in supporting these kinds of places. It's really exciting to see our CEO, Ian Harris, be on the board of Trailhead. It's exciting to be a part of Trailhead programs like Boise Entrepreneur Week. We really believe that this is the way that you help all boats rise within your community.
We could not do it without the industry partners that we have in the Treasure Valley. And what better way for these STEM companies to help than to donate their time and resources to help cultivate amazing events like these.
In order for Trailhead to achieve its mission, we rely on private partnerships. Sometimes those partnerships come in the forms of a check. Other times those partnerships come in the form of an in-kind contribution or help. I particularly love Vinyl because they do both. They write us a check and then they roll up their sleeves and help us get the job done. There's no doubt in my mind that our innovation ecosystem in Idaho is stronger because we can count on Vinyl and its support.
Innovation and ideas, they need to be nurtured just like anything else does for it to grow.
Really needed a center of gravity, a kind of focal point, the beginning of the center of the spokes on a wheel.
You can actually create a whole ecosystem, a whole economy around a startup community.
It's no longer competing against people across the street. We're competing against people across the world. So we create something like Trailhead to help facilitate the process and give a greater chance for these small businesses to do well. So when someone wants to start a business, it can be in anything. They generally know one thing very well. It could be writing code, it can be making a widget, it can be new recipes for a restaurant. What they need is they need additional help on other things you need to be successful in business. Finance, marketing, HR, taxes, legal, customer support, operations, management, timing, competition, location, luck, and relationships.
What better way to do that than through a place like Trailhead, where you can actually bring all the different talent that we have here to meet, to work together, to engage with one another, to provide programs.
Everything that is needed to make a business be successful, we want to bring it into one place, a large place, where it can be a lot of things to a lot of people.
You know, Trailhead is a really neat, innovative concept. What it's really about is a community center where entrepreneurs can come together to share experiences and services, and a support network that gives them what they need to not only survive but to thrive in a growing Boise community.
Well, it's very exciting to have Micron support us very early on. With the donation they've given us, they basically are saying, yes, we believe in what you're doing, we believe that there's a reason for doing this, we believe there's a future for it, and we want to be there to be a part of it.
Micron is an iconic company and a really big part of the Boise community. I think it's really important to know that because a company like that is such a trailblazer in terms of innovation, this is exactly what we want to show here at Trailhead.
It shows everyone in our community and beyond that one of the most successful and capable technological companies in the world is engaged in this effort. And you just can't say enough about what that means.
So if we can help create a place where bright people with great ideas can come together and foster new ideas and growth, we want to be part of that, and that's why we're participating.
For our economy, for our small companies to go from good to great, it's not going to happen in a vacuum. It's going to require investment from every aspect of the community.
Trailhead is what we make it. We need everybody to get involved.
Hi, Boise Entrepreneur Week, and welcome back. My name is Nick Krabs. I'm the partner and chief community officer at Vinyl, and really excited to sit down with Roger Brown, the economic development director at Boise State, and Eric Gilbert, the CEO of Treefort. Today is kind of the last talk for the BEW Live portion. I thought it'd be really fun to just have kind of an open conversation about ecosystem development, which in a lot of ways is what Boise Entrepreneur Week is trying to accomplish, and really the partnerships and strategy that goes into creating the gravity that makes the right conditions for entrepreneurs, creatives, and really sometimes just young people to stay in our ecosystem. So I'm excited to have that conversation with you and really just maybe have some meditations on it really, and what makes Boise a great place. So really quickly, maybe you guys could just talk about what you're working on, that kind of to that effect, and then we can jump in and have those meditations.
Great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Director of Economic Development at Boise State. I work out of the Division of Research. The big thing we're working on right now is trying to rethink how we lean outward. That's the simplest way to put it, but we have a community we serve internal to the university. We have a mission to serve the community outside of the university, and in a time where we're resource constrained, taking a hard look at what we have in terms of assets and trying to figure out how we can do it better. It will culminate in the announcement in October of what we're calling the Junction, which is about bringing people who lean outward together, campus units and off-campus partners, and trying to divine programming, support, and energy around those activities, not to displace or duplicate efforts, but to try to swell them, add more value, identify gaps, and create more opportunities, both for our community partners and for our students, faculty, and staff.
Yeah, nice.
With starting Treefort in and of itself was kind of like trying to affect the ecosystem, right? But I was going to just maybe speak to something we identified early on was the lack of access for all ages crowds, really, like for youth to have access to culture, but really to have access in a more direct and an active way, right? Like you can go to these big shows, right, as a kid, but that's a very passive experience. And so for us, we're really excited about the venues we built out, like Shrine Social Club and Treefort Music Hall, where either Boise State students or even younger have the opportunity to learn how to do sound, or learn how to run a show, or learn how to play on a stage. So that, I think when you think of ecosystems, infrastructure like that matters, right? Like what space, what people have access to. For a long time in Boise, the smaller capacity venues, aka the venues where artists could suck, were 21 plus. And so if you can't have the opportunity to even try until you're 21 or older, that's a big gap, right? And so as a starting foray, that's kind of that's one thing that we've focused on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and many watching might have the question, because it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke of like, what does a software technologist, a university, and like a music festival have in common when it comes to ecosystem development? But I think that, the three of us certainly have had this conversation in various different ways all the time about, in order to create gravity to build the conditions, you also have to be providing the on-ramps, either for young people to work sound at a show, or to have places for them to go to get the support for entrepreneurship. Certainly when we were talking earlier this year about how to potentially provide funding mechanisms in our ecosystem, that came up a lot. I talk about Treefort all the time because Treefort's one of my reasons on why I've stayed, right? And so, when you think about all of the pieces that go together, one of them is access to art and culture, and certainly for creatives, and I like to think of myself as a thinking person, so like that's important. And the Bay Area, Seattle, Los Angeles, like they have good university systems there. They have lots of opportunity for creative, and Boise has some, but they have one really strong one, right? One really strong partner. So maybe Roger, just kind of in your role, like how do you, and as you lean outwards as an initiative, how do you think about those collaborations with maybe organizations who, on paper, don't necessarily seem like a collaboration, but it's all part of that gravity building, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't want to steal Eric's thunder, but I've learned a lot from watching the way Treefort has grown, and that there's a really long tail on that comet, and it affects a lot of aspects of life in the valley that people don't necessarily think about. One, as an old guy who likes punk music, to be able to take my kid to see a punk show, like a legitimate punk show in town, and he has a different attitude about his hometown than he would have a short time ago. And I have a different attitude about it. Certainly for the students we serve and the people we recruit to come work here, like any large employer, employers look for water, they look for transportation, they look for a pool of qualified people they can hire, and they look for those things that affect their quality of life at home. Schools, culture, the cabin, these things matter when people are looking at investing in the valley. And so whether we approach it as a large employer or whether we approach it as someone who, an entity that's always trying to add value to the lives of the students who come here and the faculty who come here and the staff who come here, I don't see it as any different. Whether it's the entrepreneurial community you try to stimulate and add value in, whether it's the cultural economy, to me it's about being the most well-rounded, unique. We have, Treefort is a very unique asset. The foothills are right there, like the quality of life we have in Boise. It's all one big friendly bundle that I think makes us, gives us an opportunity to do something really special. I love, we want the university to play at the heart of that and to support partners in the community and stimulate it the right way. But I just think it's a super exciting time to be in Boise, and that we're hitting on all cylinders largely because we've got local people who have invested in unique local things.
Well, and for a long time, I think when, you flash back 10 years ago and you ask someone like, why Boise, right? People would say things like, well, it's safe, there's low crime, there's no traffic, the housing is really cheap. Like that was a big part of the why of Boise. Well, like those things aren't true anymore. Right? They're not as true as they were. Certainly housing is in a very different situation. I actually got stuck in rush hour traffic once. Oh my God, it was terrible. I didn't know that could happen here. So like some of these things just aren't true anymore. So now what is our new why, right? Now we have to start thinking about what that is. Well, if I was making a case and I was writing the handbook on what our why is gonna be, right, we're gonna start talking about knowledge-based economy. We're gonna start talking about the opportunity for being creative. We're gonna start talking about access to, I would say there's a lot of open doors here. I can email a CEO and probably get a meeting within a week, which I would never get that in Seattle, right? So there's a lot of access here. And as a corporate partner, you start paying attention to talent pipeline, resource pipeline. You start paying attention to the cultural pipeline because it matters to our future prospectus on how we can grow our business here, for sure. So maybe kind of a similar but flipped question to Eric, how does Treefort look at kind of that gravity building holistically outside of just Treefort? And since we have a great economic development guy from Boise State, maybe you can talk about Boise State a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Yeah, the collaborative nature of our work, and I think how when the economy is working well, it just naturally has that, right? And so I think like if I just once again look at the creative sector and how it can partner well with the rest, if I just think of even look at the camera crew here, which I know several of them as musicians and not just musicians, but what I've loved about with Treefort is like there's all these pieces of that it takes to put it on that translates throughout the year. Like if I just think of myself, just since I am a musician, if I have to put out a record, I need graphic design, I want to do some videos, I need someone to write a bio, I need all these other pieces of that. And that's like running a business anymore, right? You need all this content anyway. So
bands are a business.
Yeah. Well, and I think like the more of those that are in town, I mean, businesses need to hire those, and so I think it's really, that's where also the cultural economy intersects with other sectors well, right? And then there's the intangible of just like wanting to live in a town that you want to live in. Now, the other side is like, and I think related to our relationship with Boise State or others is I love the more like we have gotten to know the ecosystem on campus and realize that they're, the classic role for a university in a city is a research partner, right? They're like the R&D lab. And so that's one thing us with kind of leading like music policy thought is like making sure Boise State is at the table too, so we can build a regenerative access to research and data around the work that we're all doing, right? And so I'm really excited about that is developed. And in part from Roger and Amanda Ashley, who were just on, and others over there that recognize that this is a sector in and of itself. And it's been fun to watch the public sector in general slowly start to understand that the creative economy is a real economy, but also is a generator of the culture that matters for like other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
I think I talk about it in a similar way, because I use the word like having enough gravity to make sure that you're pulling in all the resources you need, right? And so I actually use Tree Fort as a really great example of, you know, if you just think about this as just like mass, right? Tree Fort's a pretty big one that you can bolt on, and that actually helps in the thing maybe you actually want if you're an economic development guy or the city or a corporation or whoever it is that wants to see these resources develop in the local economy. Like, if you discount all the pieces that create that gravity, or I shouldn't say all the pieces, but some of those pieces because they're not immediately relevant to you, it becomes harder to pull that in. So you said something that was kind of interesting to me, and you know, in the last couple of minutes we have, maybe you can riff on it. You said that in a functioning economy, it kind of happens naturally, and so there's this little bit of like tug between laissez-faire, allowing it to do what it's going to do, versus intentionality and trying to get partners on the same page, pulling in the same direction. For anyone who knows me can probably guess which one I am, right? So I guess maybe like riff on that one more time. Like, what do you think about kind of just it happens versus like we need to work together to make it happen?
Yeah,
right?
well, I think like, and that's kind of where I think opening up networks, and if you even use this event, like you said, like you need those like channels of communication and activity, like interchanging ideas or products or services. That's what I was saying. Is like, you know, like. When the economy is working well, it's working together, I guess, right? That's kind of what I was getting at. I'm curious your take on that.
Yeah, I think youth is energy, and I hope that's not just that I'm slowing down, but the creativity and energy tends to come from youth, and there are productive collisions all the time when you're young, and there's a lot of need for focus in that energy. Someone is going to affect the environment you live in.
Right.
When we say laissez-faire, I think we often think of the government. Somebody's going to do it, and it's often the people with the energy and adding the know-how that an artist is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur can be artful. I think those are really critical things.
Yeah.
Well, I think talking about youthful energy too, I mean, I was 27 when I originally co-chaired this event, right? How old were you when you started Tree Fort?
32.
Yeah, pretty young, like in comparison,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so there's something to it, right? When you build that gravity and you're keeping young people here. I mean, Idaho has for a long time kind of had to battle the kind of exiting of our knowledge, right? This knowledge loss that happens with young people are like, okay, now I got my degree at Boise State. Maybe now it's time for me to bounce to Seattle and go build my life, right? I actually think that's happening less now than it used to, right? If you go back 10 years, I think now they're more concerned, can I buy a home? But like, that's in some ways a better problem to have than is there opportunity for me, right? Which I think has
the ecosystem matters,
right? Like I think that has kind of shifted a little bit. Well, listen, guys, we could talk on this forever. We have, and we probably will outside of this forum. And so I really want to thank you for taking just a couple minutes to riff on these ideas. I think they're important ideas to talk about. I think when you know, there are people above us who make decisions sometimes, and I think this is the stuff that we got to remind them about because we talk about it a lot. So thank you for watching. Don't miss all the great events this week. BEW Live Day 2 will start tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Also, since our Broncos are going to Notre Dame, go Broncos.
I would be the first to recommend vinyl to anybody that is out there launching a company or making a decision on what to do with regards to their technology. Our CTO brought vinyl in at a very early stage, basically have an instant team working on it as an extension of our own company.
I call it rapid expertise. They could rapidly become experts in whatever little piece you have and use their technological expertise to give you some result.
I think that, to me, is the most important thing about working with Vinyl, is that we've been in your shoes and we understand what the things are that are most important for us to accomplish so that you can advance your business, right? You can meet your strategic goals.
I would recommend Vinyl 100% of the time. From product strategy to software development to shipping the product, you guys are there with us every step of the way.
They sort of said, well, obviously you won't be ready by fall of 22. And we were ready by fall of 22, and we were out in the field collecting real data.
We understand their world. We understand the constraints they have and the demands they have outside of the strictly technological. And that's an important thing. It's an important level of comfort for clients, especially when they're trying to navigate the regulatory environment or complex processes around bringing their product to market.
It has been an amazing partnership and has seen a true life cycle of TapCat from its infancy all the way until shipping a new modern architecture.
Listen, Vinyl shows up, they're present, and they're consistent.
I'll swap 3 for 1 for the Vinyl folks because I get that much more lift, if you will, out of their capabilities of professionalism.
They care about people and they care about the work that they do.
Vinyl is our build team. I would recommend them in a heartbeat.
At Vinyl, we understand what it takes to launch successful software products. Over the last 15 years, we've helped teams transform breakthrough ideas into products that are market ready. With over 170 successful launches worldwide, we bring the experience and craft needed to deliver on your vision.
My name is Sharon Popple, and I'm the CEO of Executive Allies. So when most people think about accountants, they're thinking about the pocket protectors, the green visors. We keep our green visors hidden. We like to wear fun socks instead. And what that means is we like to bring a little bit of levity to the conversations that can be tougher, and to make sure that we're seeing the owners and the people that we work with as human. I would say one of the benefits of bringing on a company like Executive Allies that acts as a fractional accounting department is that we have a whole team that has a range of experience. We've got bookkeepers, we've got staff level accountants, we have controllers, and we have CFOs. The majority of time when people reach out to us, they're not coming to us with clean books. And they're not alone. You're not alone in your messy accounting, and you're not alone in not understanding how things should look. That's where we come in. And so when you hire a team like ours, we have not only the experience of an individual on our team, but also the entire team's knowledge of working with over 40 companies over the last year. We've seen tech stacks that work for different types of industries. And so we have a really broad range of skill set that can come and serve turnkey into any business. Whether you're a startup business or an established business that's been around for years, we're here to help.
This was about us trying to help this community, about us trying to bring everybody together.
I say that I'm too either stupid or stubborn to quit. So I would have kept going, but I would not have progressed at the rate that I am without the support of folks like you guys.
Go get help, because people love helping. People love mentoring. People love helping the communities grow.
But think about the compounding effect of not just money, but the compounding effect of effort. The compounding of what we're doing in this community to build and support each other to build things.
We have such a a vibrant sort of community here, but it's still very young. I mean, a lot of first-time founders, a lot of folks really kind of taking their first up at bat, trying to be a startup founder.
We're all learning and kind of pivoting together.
They're so approachable. They're willing to take the meeting, they're willing to take the coffee, they're willing to just be helpful.
It was a labor of love for this community that has reaped huge benefits. And that is why I think I am so excited and enthused about what is happening here. And every year I get more and more excited because I think it's getting bigger and bigger.